you have live footage of John Laurinaitis in his living room calling somebody in his underwear saying, "Hey,
Did
bud, you fired."
what did Max Caster say about me?
Like I'm embarrassed.
It's Wednesday, guys. You know what that means. It is time for your weekly dose of the Pro Wrestling Injection right here on the Pro Wrestling Injection YouTube and Twitch. If there's not really any news to cover today, so we're just gonna, well, besides the unfortunate passing of Psycho Sid.
Yeah, rest in peace to Sid Vicious, Psycho
Yeah.
Sid Justice. Went by many names. One of the best big men there was in the early time, not
Oh, yeah.
early, but in the 90s, in the early WWE days. So, and WCW. So rest in peace to Sid.
100%. So I think that's really just all of the news that there was. Nothing too groundbreaking happened. So we're just gonna kick it off with Dynamite tonight. We opened the show. How did we open the show again? Fuck, I forgot.
We opened the show with Jon Moxley returning, and he came out to his New Japan theme, which I was confused by on the entrance, but after the segment, I understand why. Um, but Moxley, he comes out, he looked good. There was a report saying like Moxley didn't make the trip to London, which is obviously evident because if he did, he probably would have been on the show. But he is back now, and he gets in the ring with Shivani for an interview, and he talks to Shivani, and he basically tells Shivani he has to have a conversation with Darby Allin for some reason, and then he goes back to Shivani when Shivani's signing off and gets in his face, points to his finger, and says, "This is not your company anymore." And it was very strange. It was a very odd segment from Moxley. This is very unexpected out of him. I mean, that's how it was by design, because even the commentators were, it was off-putting for the commentators. They didn't know what to make of it, and neither did everybody else. This was very strange from Moxley, and I mean, the only thing that was evident coming out of this segment was that this guy's going heel. And it looks like we're getting a heel Moxley now, which I'm all for, but it's a different heel Moxley than what we've seen before. And the reason they didn't use Wild Thing is because Wild Thing is a very babyface entrance theme. You got people singing it. It gets everybody hyped up when he starts coming out. When he comes out to his New Japan theme, it's just his regular song.
It's time for business.
It's not even that. It's just not Wild Thing. It's not gonna have people singing along. It's not gonna have people getting all amped up. It's just all right. Here comes Mox. But yeah, that was strange to kick off. But I understand it now after we got. I still don't know all about it, but we still have some more to talk about Moxley soon. But after that, we kicked off with Tomohiro Ishii versus Hangman Adam Page, which was an excellent match. This was the first time, believe it or not, that Hangman and ever had a one-on-one match. They never had a one-on-one match in New Japan when Hangman was there. That was confirmed on commentary as well, and I thought that they had a great match. It was like a G1 style match between these two. Very, very entertaining. Really liked it. Very stiff, very hard hitting. It was a crazy dead eye that Ishii gave to Hangman. That was cool. But the match ended with a buckshot lariat to Ishii, and Hangman picked up the victory. After the match, Swerve Strickland Swerve Strickland comes out. So you already knew business was gonna pick up here because these two guys fucking hate each other. And they got into each other's face immediately. They both have a mic. Hangman talks first, saying that Swerve can't beat him. The first time, it took Nana. The second time, it took Nana and Brian Cage, and the third time, he couldn't do. I mean, he couldn't do it on his own. The third time, he had to do all this other extra stuff, and it's I mean, it's a valid point. I will not actually. Excuse me. It was the first time was Nana. Second time it was Brian Cage, and the third time was the time limit draw. And he couldn't beat him. So this was very impassioned by Hangman. He's yelling at him that Swerve is not better than him. He's not better than him in any way. He hates him. You're never gonna be a champion again. But Swerve cuts him off, basically telling him that he is. I mean, he lives in his head rent free. Uh, Before Revolution this year, he scoped out his house and he was staring at Hangman while he was leaving with his pregnant wife to go to the hospital to be a father for the second time. That's new information. I had no idea Hangman had another kid. Which because he had a kid 2 years ago. That's why he missed the first Arthur Ashe show. But he had another kid, which that was news to me. I don't remember that being publicized. But so he said that, and Hangman was getting antsy. And Swerve then challenged him to a steel cage match at All Out, which that's gonna be fucking warfare.
Oh yeah.
But he wasn't done there. He was telling Hangman how, um, if you're so hooked up on me, then what type of father are you gonna be to your kids? What type of man are you gonna be for your wife? And instead of beating the shit out of him, instead of fucking blowing a gasket and flying off the handle like Hangman has been doing for months, he just drops the mic and he just leaves the ring. So this was an excellent segment between these two here. These two, it's just so cool to me
They're
that
like, in my opinion, I see this feud as Joker and Batman. They're destined
no,
to do this forever.
no, yeah, yeah, this is fantastic. I completely agree. The best part about it was because even when it started last year, it was such an unexpected feud, and it was like unexpectedly good feud because it's something that like when Swerve came in, you think, oh, I really want to see him against Hangman Page. You know, it's like not everybody like it's not like people were saying, oh, that's a match I want to see. Like when people say, oh, I want to see Swerve and Danielson, I want to see Swerve and Kenny Omega, I want to see Swerve and Pac, something like that. I want to see Swerve and Darby Allin. A lot of people weren't saying I want to see Swerve and Hangman Page, but they were put together uh, one week and they've been like peanut butter and jelly. It's what it, and in my opinion, in a person like Hangman Page, who has been in this company since day one, who has had great feuds with a lot of people, and some of his greatest matches and greatest moments with various other people. This guy has had great feuds with Kenny Omega. He's had great feuds with the Young Bucks. He's had great feuds with Bryan Danielson. He's had great feuds, even in the beginning with Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
But Swerve Strickland is his greatest rival in this company, and to be that in front of guys like Kenny and Danielson and Jericho, that's a big time compliment to how these two guys work together and the chemistry they got. And it's very unexpected. And in my opinion, for Swerve, Hangman is his absolute greatest rival he's ever had in his career.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could argue Danielson, Ospreay, and Darby Allin because those have been very storied with him as well.
I think
but
because of the personal level on this one,
yeah,
it makes it a lot better because you have the personal aspects. Thing is too now, like I don't think, well, depending on how the character that they want to run with Hangman, is he gonna stoop low and start now stalking out Swerve's house?
well, everywhere is Swerve's house.
Well, like his
Well,
legit.
maybe. I don't think so because I think they are destined to do this forever. But part of me thinks I wouldn't say part of it. I actually think this is more likely that they're gonna do this match, and that's gonna be it for them for a little bit because they did do the same cycle of pay-per-views last year with him and Hangman. So I doubt they're gonna repeat it. But I do think this match is gonna be it for the time being because when they get to Tacoma, Washington in October, there's a chance they could put the belt back on Swerve in his hometown. But I think, depending on how Brian is and what his health situation is and the neck surgery and how long he wants to actually hold the title for, I could see them very well not doing that.
So what
And have get or I'm about to say, I just want to say this, or they could extend the Hangman feud again up until Tacoma, and he wins the feud decisively for the first time, because Swerve technically has never beaten Hangman clean.
So
Like, if he beats him clean at Tacoma, I could see that going as well. And if they want to do something else with Brian,
there's this idea that I have running through my head that's possibly where they might pivot to kind of go back into the title scene and then put a nice like bow and ribbon on the Swerve Hangman stuff. If they do the Gauntlet Casino again at, say, Wrestle Dream in the same style they did for All In, where that contract is valid for a cash in anytime, anywhere, you have Hangman win that one, and then you start up for that. That's where I think you can now lead. Because assuming Swerve does win in Tacoma.
yeah, if he does, I can see it, because and that's the thing too. There's a chance that when he gets back to Brian, he could be a heel again. I doubt it because of the Hangman feud, because he was already playing heel when he did the match with Brian. But I just see there's two options here. It's either they're doing him and Brian again in Tacoma, or they're doing him and somebody else, or like Hangman. Hangman would be part of that. And Brian's just doing something else because they want to keep the title on Brian for longer. Yeah. If it was up to me, like, it is kind of restrictive, but listen, I get Swerve, it's his hometown and stuff, but I want them to keep the title on Brian as long as possible. Mm-hmm. As long as he can, and as long as his body is, and he wants to, I want them to keep that title on him as long as humanly possible. Because he did say it tonight that once he loses the title, he's done as an in-ring talent. And that could very well be a Wrestle Dream. But I just want, whenever he wants to be done, is when he should be done. And I think they should, listen, you're not going to get complaints out of anybody who's an AEW fan that would, like, not want to have the title on Brian as long as possible. So I hope they do that.
Another idea has, like, crossed my mind on, even on how Tacoma could go for Wrestle Dream. Hell, maybe the match for the championship could be a triple threat. You have two of Brian's greatest opponents that he has gone up against. You have Hangman Adam Page and Swerve.
Could do that. I mean, they could do that. They already did it, though.
Yeah.
Because with Joe in the same year, I don't know if they're going to do that again. Like, in the same year, I don't think they would do that with... And plus, if Brian wins that match, it would be the same outcome as the one with Joe, and then we're back to square one.
I mean, true, but it's just an idea to put out there, because...
me personally, I wouldn't do it. Just because... I mean, I think it is a little too soon for that type of main event, because technically there's only, 4 pay-per-views in between? So...
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do that yet. However, you got to remember there's also a lot of things at play here when it comes to Bryan Danielson in the title picture. Because at Arthur Ashe Stadium, Darby Allin does have a title shot, like a guaranteed title shot, and there's also Christian that is looming, and he could cash that in whenever. But Darby and Bryan has never happened yet, and that's another match. Those are two other Washington guys.
That's a scary match that I would be afraid to watch.
That's happening at Grand Slam. But also Moxley and Darby is going to be obviously a program happening. So there's a lot of moving parts. We don't have a clear picture. I think we'll get a clearer picture once we're out past All Out, because I mean, we'll talk about it later, but this Jack Perry feud is the most 2 week feud I've ever seen, and it's literally just a buffer just to have Brian on the show. Because and that's the thing, even because Brian, I mean, obviously it's easy because Jack, it's in Chicago, and it makes sense. But that's the thing, Brian and Jack Perry are not main eventing that show. Hangman and Swerve.
Oh yeah.
So it's not. So they want to have a lower end match, like, because Brian's not losing to fucking Jack Perry. So
Not yet. Yeah.
yeah. So no. It's like we'll see. I mean, we'll have a lot clearer of a picture afterwards, because say if Hangman beats Swerve at All Out, I think Hangman has a case against Bryan Danielson, for a title match, and and to be honest, I don't know who's gonna beat Bryan for the world title when he's ready to drop it. I don't know who it's going to be, but a heel Hangman Page as the world champion, I'd very much like to see that. I would not be surprised, and I would be all for another Hangman title run, but as a heel.
Oh yeah.
But we'll see.
Hell, even if they don't like run the Christian Bryan angle, I hate to look this up. Are all of Hangman's parents still alive?
Yes,
Okay.
they're usually at all the shows when they go to Virginia.
Okay. I just want to make sure that.
Yeah, but we can't be doing that. Like what's it called? Like just because of that and Christian. I mean just because
Christian does that a lot.
Yeah, I know, but it's it's literally half the time they've done it. It's been unintentional. It's just been convenient for them. So it's not like you can't be like targeting everybody on the roster. I doubt they're gonna do that. But besides that, after this we had in the back we had Renee with the conglomeration of Hook, Willow Nightingale, Tomohiro Ishii, Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, and Orange Cassidy, and they were talking about what the match, what happened at Wembley, how some of them were successful, some of them weren't. Willow picked her stipulation; it's going to be a street fight with Statlander at All Out, and it won't be for the CMLL Women's Championship, so it'll just be a grudge match.
Won't sanction the match.
Yeah. So they're gonna do, which I think I mean, with that, I think it might have give away the finish, because I don't think they want to take that title off Willow, CMLL, and I don't think Willow's gonna win that match. But anyway, yeah. So the Mark gave his promo about the word of the day, and they got ready for their match later. And after this, we had Jamie Hayter, the returning Jamie Hayter, versus Harley Cameron. This was a quick squash. Jamie beat the shit out of Harley Cameron, and that's really all she wrote.
Yeah.
Very happy to see Jamie back. She looks great. She's moving around well. It looks like she hasn't even left. I mean, 15 months. I mean, that's a long time, but it's really like she never left. The fans were very supportive of her, and yeah, she's back and better than ever. It looks like she's probably gonna have I doubt it's gonna be on the pay-per-view. I mean, they might if they need a match. If there's not a TBS or women's title match on All Out, they could do Jamie and Saraya there. But we'll see. But yeah. After this, we had the Learning Tree and Roderick Strong in the back, interviewed by Renee, and Jericho was basically talking about how Hook finally listened to him, and that's why he won at Wembley. And then Roddy asked the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, for help.
Jericho.
Yeah, he asked him for help with Kyle O'Reilly because he can't get through to him, and saying how Orange Cassidy's bad news and how he still owes him money from 3 years ago in the Mimosa Mayhem match. And I kind of got tipped off to what was going on here that ended up happening later in the match. that they had later, but we'll talk about that then. But after this, we had a little promo segment from introducing Ricochet, and he just said this is where he needs to be. He's gonna show AEW who he really is. Just a quick little
Someone had
introductory promo if
pointed
you don't know
out
him.
on Samantha Irving's like social, she has removed all WWE affiliation.
She ain't going nowhere. She was on Raw this Monday. So that people are fucking making this out to be more than it has to. I don't know why people are doing this. Brother, this shit happens all the time. Men and women and men can work in a different place and still be a couple. I know this is foreign concept to a lot of wrestling fans out there, but believe it or
I was just
not,
pointing out what I fucking saw.
no, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about the people. I know it's a foreign concept to most of them, but believe it or not, there actually is women that work in WWE who are married or dating people that work in AEW.
I will.
To me, this was shocking revelation.
I will say one thing with Ricochet joining AEW, that definitely might be a like a morale boost for Malachi Black. He has another one of his really good friends here in the company, so.
I mean, I think he's got a lot of friends in a lot of places.
Well, I'm mainly
anything.
talking like at least like a friend that he like is more
Well,
close.
his wife. Well, his wife is also in WWE, just like Ricochet. I don't think that means anything. Buddy Matthews and Rhea Ripley. I mean, I'm sure they would be loved. They would love
I'm
to
just
be
talking about
together.
how like we've all heard like the rumblings on Malachi being like
Malachi's
kinda,
contract is not up until
well, like
next year. Until next year, and
2026 or 2025 next year.
Next year.
Okay, so 2025. All right.
And if he wanted out, he probably would have been out already. To be honest with you, but what I'm saying is like a lot of people on Twitter and stuff, which that's the first issue. People need to get the fuck off Twitter. But you know, the funniest thing about it is this company warfare tribalism shit does not matter to the wrestlers. The wrestlers are friends with each other, and guess what? The WWE wrestlers, guess what they're watching? They're watching AEW. The AEW wrestlers, guess what they're watching? WWE. I for one, I mean, I can't imagine this. I can't imagine this. Can you believe that outside of the ring, that Bryan Danielson is friends with like Kevin Owens? What do you mean Rhea Ripley is married to Buddy Matthews? They don't work for the same company, the same wrestling promotion, the same scripted fighting promotion? No. Can you believe this? I can't, for one. I really can't. I mean, when AEW started, and Britt Baker was at all those NXT takeovers when Adam Cole was main eventing, I think she was a double agent. I think she was
so
leaking
fucked
shit
up.
to. I think she was leaking stuff to Tony Khan.
That's so fucked up.
People need to get fucking real. Get real. Oh my Lord, have mercy! I can go on all day. I can go through the entire fucking roster if you want. You could, but I won't. But anyway, after this we had MJF come out, and this guy was not fucking having it tonight. I mean, you could see the kinesio tape breaching up from his neck because I mean I like that because he's selling the effects of the Tiger
I thought
Driver
it
in
was
91.
at first like a Burberry like neck brace.
No way.
First. And then I saw it was a tape, and I'm like, okay, all right. Cause you know he'd be the motherfucker to come out with a Burberry and a neck brace.
Yeah. But he said he threatened the fans that he's not having this shit tonight. He went after Osprey and said, He's gonna be back, and once you get to the title, once you've forgotten about me, once you get close to the grandest prize of them all, I'm gonna be there, to cut your knees out from under you. And I think that's gonna end up coming true. I think they're gonna wait a while until people have forgotten about it. And when Osprey eventually does get to the world title, I do think he'll fail due to MJF, and they'll reignite that feud and delay it even further. Um,
I'm not
they
sure.
dropped out.
I just noticed now if your microphone is it your webcam or is it the that mic?
Probably the webcam, but now it's fixed.
Oh yeah, it was a webcam for the majority. I wasn't sure, but then you went down in a lower volume. So
Yeah.
all right.
However, what's it called though? But yeah, MJF. He said that about Osprey. I could see that happening, and then he switched tones to Daniel Garcia, and he talked about how he's gonna end Garcia's life, and as he's talking about that, he gets fucking blasted from behind. No Diddy by Daniel Garcia, and Garcia starts putting the boots to him. Garcia gets ready to give him a pile driver off the top rope, just like how MJF did to him. But MJF ends up getting out of it and reversing him. He starts beating on Daniel Garcia, but then Garcia gets the upper hand and tries to give him the pile driver again. But security ends up stopping him. Christopher Daniels ends up stopping him. Garcia gets on the mic. He says, "I'm gonna ruin your life. I'm gonna ruin your life. That's all I care about. That's all I want to do.
That's my fetish.
You want to your mother, my mother had to watch me get stretchered out on the biggest night of my life. Ruining your life is my fetish." And MJF screaming at this fucking guy. Garcia throws the mic at him. He challenges Garcia challenges MJF to a match at All Out, which is what we expected.
I
And that
thought
match
the
has
mic
since been confirmed.
hit MJF at first, but then I watched it back. It just missed him by like a very like small millimeter of like a second close to his face.
But yeah, this was a great segment. This is a lot of fire that was great from Garcia here. Really enjoyed this. But yeah, good stuff from these two. Next up, we had a 8-man tag match between the Conglomeration and Hook versus the Learning Tree and Roderick Strong, and this is a lot of fun. It's a good fun match. And it served its purpose, and the purpose is what I suspected when they both cut their promos. Uh, I I think that they're literally just going to switch the feuds. They're swapping the feuds, and this was the match to do it. Uh, don't fear, Jericho and Hook are done, but this match was literally just to swap the feuds. Jericho and the Learning Tree will now be feuding with the Conglomeration, and Hook is now going to feud with the Undisputed Kingdom, which is well, basically just Roddy. Which I think is fine. I think the Learning Tree and Conglomeration, I think that fits well. And Hook and Roddy can be something different, and I think that could actually be sneaky good.
Oh yeah.
And one thing I do want to say about this match was Big Bill. I mean, he was over like Rover in the UK, but I felt tonight, because I think it did kind of translate over to the States, but I do, in due time, not anytime soon, maybe not even this year, but in due time, I do see him getting over to a point, not as big, not as over as he was at the time, but when Wardlow was getting over at the end of his tenure with MJF, I could see very well a big baby face turn for Big Bill in the future.
Oh yeah,
but
I
this
can
was
definitely see that.
Yeah, this was just a fun match. Hook, he ended up. The finish was
Tapping out Roddy, right?
Yeah, he ended up tapping out Roddy with the red rum, I think. Let me see. Yes. And after the match, Taven and Bennett, they start beating down on Roddy. Not Roddy, on Hook with Roddy, and then
yeah, they definitely started beating down on Roddy.
yeah, then Conglomeration, they took away the Learning Tree. So yeah, they literally just switched the feuds.
Also, security was like the extras in security were getting work done tonight.
Yep. What's it called? But after this, we had a little vignette for the grizzled young veterans. They they had not vignette, actually that came after. But we had them showing what happened at Wembley backstage, where they confronted the Young Bucks and basically said, like, the Young Bucks were saying, "Hey guys, what's up?" Trying to be all buddy to them, but the vets were not having it. They were talking, saying how they want to take the tag division over, and when you see them come and grit their teeth, and they're not dopes like the Young Bucks. So, and then after this, they basically cut another mini promo. And they're gonna have a match on Rampage against the Outrunners. So we're gonna finally see them in action. I think I don't know. We don't have a graphic for them yet, but they're basically signed, I believe.
I think after the match with the Outrunners, probably when
Yeah,
we'll see the graphic.
Yeah. So, but yeah. And after that, we had Mariah May come out. Mariah May, she's coming out because actually I do want to say before we talk about this, Tony Storm did a little video after the match at Wimbledon. They show her just wandering into the street with Luther, and like the commentary has said that she hasn't been seen in days and she's like MIA. So I'm very excited to see what's next for Tony Storm. But anyway, we have Mariah May here with Tony Schiavone. She's touching all up on Tony Schiavone. Maybe he'll get in the ring now, just like how Nigel did. But Mariah,
it's not his
she's
company anymore, man. It's not his company.
But Mariah is basically cutting down, saying she won't do her celebration in Champaign, Illinois, because it's a disgusting place and there's disgusting looking women here.
And then they pan to a random woman in the crowd,
which she may or may not have been right about.
I fucking love these camera cuts.
But,
whoever works in the production trucks are just fucking amazing people.
But then she says, "I'm gonna take off my robe now," and she's gonna look, and you're gonna see what a real champion looks like. And she does. She shows what she's wearing, and she has a title belt on. And she said, "That's enough," and then she leaves. So it's a little tease. I don't know if she's gonna wrestle or have I don't doubt that she's gonna have a title match on All Out, because I doubt Tony's coming back next week.
Nah, I think we see Tony. I don't think at All Out. Maybe the Wednesday after All Out.
I actually keep him. I keep her off TV more, to be honest. I let Mariah have like a mini feud with somebody before that, and like maybe keep Tony off. But I actually don't know. They could bring her back at any time, because I think she's still gonna be timeless, but it's like it's gonna be a different version of Tony that we've seen. Because Tony's smart. She's gonna come up with something. But after this, we had a backstage segment of the after party with the CEO, Mercedes Moné, and Camille. She's celebrating her victory at All Out, but she is interrupted by Private Party, saying how there can't be a party without Private Party. And Mark Quinn gave her a little plug, because this weekend at Capital Collision, actually not this week, on Friday, she's gonna be defending her New Japan Strong Openweight Women's Championship against Momo Watanabe from Stardom. So and also Gabe Kidd requested to take a picture with her at that show.
This dude.
But yeah.
Excuse me.
I mean, Gabe's been on when he was at a meet and greet, and he started a chant saying MJF's a pussy. Some little Japanese kid came to the meet and greet and gave him a highball. Gabe, he's been doing his thing. He's wrestling with Leo Rush. He's defending the strong openweight title from against Leo Rush on Friday. So I'm very excited for that. But then Isaiah got over and he says, "I know you're single now," which, yeah, she is divorced. So Isaiah goes and shoots a shot with Mercedes, and before he could finish, Camille steps in and stops and puts a stop to this, But before Camille could even do anything, here comes Kazuchika Okada, which I completely forgot about that little tidbit a couple weeks ago. But as soon as I saw him, I was just extremely happy. And a private party didn't want no smoke with Okada. They didn't want it. Mercedes asked Okada, "How do you say get out of here, bitches?" in Japanese, and she goes, and he whispers in her ear, and she goes, "Sayonara, bitches," and they all start doing the CEO dance at the end, and Okada he starts doing. He's like, "This is a dream come true." I'm like, "This is listen." I I think this is like little funny, like Easter egg type shit, but to me, there is so much fucking money and there's so much stuff they could do with this that they need to like actually invest in this because listen, whenever the elite angle's over, like the EVP angle, if they had because Mercedes is basically already in line with them,
Yeah.
have like Mercedes lead Okada on for months and then completely fucking shatter this guy. Okada is gonna end up being the biggest fucking babyface there is. Are you fucking kidding me? How dare you? And Mercedes is gonna be an even bigger heel. How dare you do this to my Pookie Bear Okada? How fucking dare you?
It's
You
gonna
bitch.
be like how when we were discussing the Adam Cole and MJF stuff. When Adam turns on MJF's gonna be the craziest motherfucker in
Dude,
the
fuck
world.
that. Fuck that. It's more like Mariah and Tony. How the fuck dare you? Are you kidding me? No, they really need to. They really, really need to dive into this because that shit could be. It could. First of all, for the first couple months, you can get hilarious television, and second of all, you can get very fucking. You can get like actual like investment from your fans into Okada trying to get with Mercedes, but then she fucking keeps leading them on. This would be fantastic.
And then you
I
get,
mean,
and then you get our EVPs be like, "Hey, Okada, we keep getting phone calls from your wife. What's going on?"
see, that's the thing. See, they don't even have to acknowledge that shit. That's not in the AEW canon. Dominic Mysterio's a married man. Look at this fucking guy on WWE television. You'd never know. This fucking guy, Dominic Mysterio's got more girlfriends than fucking fingers on his hand. So it's like they don't even have to acknowledge something like that. But if they did this with fucking Okada of all people, just do it. Just fucking do it, please.
I mean,
I'm begging you.
Yeah.
You literally the meme of born to lock in, forced to be. I'm born to lock in, forced to be fucking whatever. I mean, forced to lock in, born to be a comedy wrestler. Okada is literally. If you don't know anything about Okada, and you just watch AEW, and you're like a recent fan, and you have no idea who Okada is, you never know. This guy's one of the greatest fucking living wrestlers that's ever lived. Probably maybe the greatest Japanese wrestler that's ever walked this fucking planet. And this guy's fucking so yeah. I really hope they invest time into that little storyline. But after this, we had they did a little vignette for Takeshita recapping his G1 journey, and I thought it was great. I'm glad they did it. They showed all his highlights because he did fantastic in the G1. He lost in the quarterfinals. He made it out the block. That's a huge accomplishment. And they said he's back. He's gonna have a match on Rampage against in a 4-way. It's gonna be Konosuke Takeshita versus the Beast Mortos versus Leo Rush versus Commander. That's a hell of a matchup right there. But yeah, after this, we had our main event of the evening of Ricochet versus Kyle Fletcher, and when they put this match out, you already knew it was gonna go down.
Mhm.
This was a great fucking match, great match
Oh yeah,
between these two.
It was nice. It's a good way for people who aren't too familiar with Ricochet, and I'd be surprised if you're not, to see how he goes in the ring.
Yeah, and it's like this is not even what he can like really do because a part of like I'm not saying there wasn't a lot of people who could do it in WWE, but there was a lot of people in WWE that could not keep up with him like for his style. I mean, I'm not saying that because WWE. I'm not saying that at all because I watched WWE and I watched his entire run there. But as a person who watched him in Lucha Underground and Dragon Gate and New Japan before he went to WWE and NXT and now AEW, the pace he was working at and the style he was doing back in Dragon Gate and Lucha Underground and even PWG and New Japan, this guy was a fucking marvel. This guy was. You think Osprey, the shit Osprey is doing is fucking crazy. He was doing of equal shit to him,
Well,
maybe even crazier.
I think even like the match of Will Ospreay and Ricochet, the one that went viral, is what helped get both their names out there.
Well, absolutely, yeah. No,
And
I didn't.
even
That was the first
Ospreay
I ever
said
learned of
that.
them. The first I even learned of them, both those men, was because of that match. That's how most of this wrestling community found out about Osprey. If you weren't a fan of New Japan at that time, or something, or like Lucha Underground or Dragon Gate, you didn't really know about Osprey and Ricochet. But now you do. After that match, and that match put them both on the map. And because I'm one of those people.
Same.
But but very good match between these two. I don't know. The match ended with Ricochet's got a new finish called the Vertigo. They both look great in this match. Kyle is just fucking fantastic. But the match ended. Ricochet looked like he got maybe not dinged up, but maybe he got his bell rung, or like he just got it. I don't think he got his bell rung, but he got like the wind taken out of him because he was very like he was breathing heavy. He was like getting assistance. Bryce was talking to him. He just needed a minute to get on the rope. I don't know if he's it wasn't like he was working faster than how he was in WWE, but yeah, it's I think he probably just got the wind knock taken out of him.
Yeah.
But after this, Osprey comes out. I'm like, there's no fucking way. This is the same way it felt when like when he won and then they were gonna do this shit against Swerve, and even back when MJF and Punk started feuding, I'm like, holy shit, you're gonna do this now? Um, but no, Osprey comes out, and before he could even talk to Ricochet, this fucking guy takes a poison rana on the stage from Pac, and Pac goes to Ricochet. Before you worry about him, you're gonna have to
He's
worry
all
about me.
mine.
He's all mine first, because it is confirmed that Osprey and Pac are gonna wrestle for the international title at All Out. I don't see Pac winning,
Yeah, no.
but that's I mean that's a hell of a fucking match. That's a match that's one of the matches I'm most excited for in that show.
I think at Wrestle Dream, they wait until then, and that's when we get like the Osprey and Ricochet match.
Yeah, they can do that.
I think
I can
'cause
see it.
one,
That or
it-
full
it
gear. That or
plays
full
into the-
gear.
It plays into the name, and it would
It would make
It would be
sense.
their
It would-
first match
It
together.
would make sense because that show is themed about
Dream
tr-
matches.
well, not even that, just a tribute to Antonio Inoki and who's the founder of New Japan, Antonio Inoki, and their first Ricochet and Osprey's most famous match is their match in New Japan. So, so yeah, I think that would be a great place to do it. Or they could push it back to full gear. But what I want them to do is
Or
wait for
if
a
they
pay-per-view.
want to
I don't
have
want
a
them to
loud
blow.
crowd, have it in
I don't.
September. Do it at Grand
I
Slam.
don't. Actually, not a fan. I mean, as much as I would love to see it in person, I don't want them to blow that on television. I think they should wait until a pay per view where they have no limitations or restrictions. Yeah, you can give them a time limit. You can start the show like that, but I think I'd rather wait for a pay per view.
Fair enough.
But anyway, great match there. Very excited. And then after this, before we got to the main event segment, we had John Moxley in the back, being followed and talking to a security guard, who he then proceeds to beat the piss out of. Well, not him. Actually, he talks to this guy, but then a woman ends up coming and beating the shit out of these guys, and she turns around, and then we know it's now Marina Shafir, which was very crazy to see. Which I mean, it was crazy to see, but it wasn't like I was actually surprised, because if you've listened to Moxley in interviews for even going on years since Marina's been there, he's been wanting to work with her forever. He mentors her, like even when she went to go do Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. He was like giving her tips and tricks and stuff. She says like Moxley is her biggest mentor because they're very similar in style when it comes to what they do and what their background is. But it makes a lot of sense because even when Mox was in Japan, he said when Marina would go to Japan, uh, she would represent the Blackpool Combat Club. But it looks like now Marina and Moxley are going to be together as heels, and I think that's very cool to me. I think it gives something for Marina to do.
Oh yeah.
I think putting her with Moxley is the best thing because there's history there, and I mean Moxley can keep keep her on the right path because he's already a mentor to her. I think that's a great decision. I'm very excited to see because we still don't know what this fucking new Moxley is because this is very we still don't know what to make of all this. We just know that they're together and they're heels. So very excited to see this. There's a lot of people who are taking that comment that this isn't your company anymore as maybe a tease towards Shane McMahon. But because of wrestle votes ended up tweeting a picture of Mox and Shane from back in the SmackDown days and said, "Could it be?" Hashtag AEW Dynamite. However, the the Wrestle Votes page, they're not untrustworthy at all. They're very, very accurate what they report because they really don't report anything unless they factually know about it. But they've been getting reamed out by fans and talent alike for just spoilers that they post. Just not even reports, blatant spoilers. Like they just tell you what everything's gonna happen on Raw. And like even Carmelo Hayes, like, yo, this is the lamest shit ever. But they've been kind of toning it back on that. I don't know if this is a report, a hint, or a tease, or them just speculating. But there could be something there. But the thing I don't get there, because I don't listen, as much as I don't want it, I would understand if they brought Shane in. As much as I don't want it, I would understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I don't understand is why Mox? That would be the one thing, because I just wouldn't understand what Shane and Moxley's little ties would be, but that would have to be explained on television.
Yeah.
That's just something that isn't clear to me. If that is what is going on here, but we'll see. And we'll see how what goes on. But very, 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 very excited for this new Mox.
Same. Like I actually cannot wait.
I just saw a funny tweet. It says, "Bryan Danielson, I won't retire. I won't retire as AEW champion." And somebody put Tony Khan, and then it's a picture of Roman Reigns with 1,316 days as champion. Fucking do it. He will not. It's like Deadpool and Wolverine till you're 90. You're gonna keep you doing this shit till you're 90. But anyway,
that's how I felt about Taker for so long. Till you're 90. They're gonna keep wheeling you out.
Bryan on record said he will never retire. Like he said, he might retire as an in-ring performer, but like as an active full-time performer, but he will never retire. But anyway, after this we had Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, the new AEW World Champ, and he came out to cut a promo addressing his future as the world champion, and he basically talks saying that my daughter, he said Birdie said that was the best day of her life, and
it could attribute to the fact that she went on a Peppa Pig bus tour, though.
Yeah, but she did get to see her daddy win the AEW World Championship in front of 50K.
Someone did ask a very good question at the media scrum. It was like, "Do you want to see like your dad go to Japan?"
That was Meltzer.
And she's like, "If I can go with, yeah." So,
no, that was actually a devious question from Meltzer, because that's implying that Birdie wants to go to those countries. That means her dad has to wrestle there. So Dave working, attaboy Dave. I fuck with that. He's trying to keep this guy not in retirement.
Listen, take it to Japan to a Hello Kitty tour.
That's right. Yeah, you can go with Ishii in the Hello Kitty tour. You can go with him.
Oh,
he's been on one of those. Okada has too.
Imagine this is the time Okada's a face, and he takes Bryan and his daughter to the Hello Kitty tea party. Fuck
it, dude.
The same one that Yano did.
I go. Go to Japan, you got to do some stupid shit like that.
That would have to be filmed for like one of the AEW reality shows that they're planning on working on. Apparently from the from the Warner deal.
But Brian goes on and says, "I need neck surgery sooner rather than later, and my family. It's time for me to go home to my family. But as long as I'm the AEW champion, um, that's gonna have to wait. And I'm gonna
There's
be
still a lot of
as
heads to kick in.
yeah, I still have a lot of heads to kick in. I'm gonna defend this title as much as I possibly can. Um, and I don't know what my future is. So whoever wants this title shot at All Out, come and get it. And who comes on the screen but none other than the scapegoat, Jack Perry, and he's talking about how he wants to retire Danielson. It's his time now. He wants to be the world champion, and the truth of that matter is behind you. And then he's right behind Brian. He attacks him. He gives him the knee. He holds up the belts, and that's how they go off air. A lot of people are gonna take this the wrong way. I already see it, but this is a literal 2-week feud. They need a buffer. So it's gonna be Jack Perry and Brian Danielson All Out. This is literally, I don't know what people get. This is the perfect opponent for this circumstance. It's Brian's first opponent for a title defense. Major heel in the company. Can be over in 2 weeks because both are gonna move on. Because that match is not going to be the main event of that pay-per-view. The main event of All Out is going to be Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland in the steel cage match. So this is no harm, no foul for me. And plus, they're in Chicago a year after the fucking the shit went down with Punk. And you have Jack Perry fighting for the world title against a beloved figure like Bryan Danielson. This is the perfect opponent for him. This ain't going past All Out.
They're gonna keep booking Jack in Chicago until he gets shot.
Because after this, it's September, and they're gonna have to start building for the Grand Slam match of Bryan and Darby. So this is just a quick little thing with Jack, to get Bryan on the show. I wasn't even convinced. I even said before that I didn't even think Bryan was gonna wrestle on All Out. So the fact that he is pretty cool.
I just thought of a very good anecdote. Because what? Grand Slam is in September. Mox is looking for Darby.
Mm-hmm.
Mox is going to either help Darby or fuck over Darby.
Well, no, I think that, I don't know about fuck over, but I think the feud here is Darby and Moxley.
Yeah, but do you think Mox would cost Darby anything at Grand Slam?
Maybe. I don't know how Bryan would feel about that, because that could start something with Mox and Bryan again.
And that's not too bad, because essentially this is the Daniel Bryan retirement tour. The Bryan Danielson, retirement tour.
Yeah,
essentially, you give him some new ones. You throw back to the classics. And hell, even if somehow by the grace of God, Kenny is okay.
No, Kenny. Kenny. There was reporting saying that Kenny it may be before the end of the year. But I don't know. That could change tomorrow. That could change in 2 weeks. That could change in 2 months. So we'll see. But you can't. That's the thing you can't count on. Let him get ready when he's ready. Don't even. I wouldn't even book with that in mind until he's good to go. But that was AEW Dynamite tonight. I do think Bryan's gonna wrestle Mox again. It's not the last time they're gonna wrestle. So we'll see. But rest of the week, I guess.
I will go. I'll give it to Daniel Garcia. Cut a great promo. He's gonna have a fantastic match with Max at All Out. So, yeah.
I guess I'll give it to I'll give it a Hangman. Hangman has been rocking it with this heel character for a couple weeks now, so very excited to see what he does next.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you all for watching. We are going to end now. I may not be here next week because I got work, and there might not be a show at all. It depends on how Mike is. If Mike is around, the show will be led by Christian. So, yeah. All right, guys. We will see you all next week. Oh no, well, I will see you for the pre-show for All Out. All right. Peace.